Okay, so let's break this thing down about opening the front door and closing the back door. We'll probably have to do this in multiple parts, but let's get started. In order to have new people coming to your church, in order to see your church grow and expand, there is kind of a two-part process to this. It's called opening the front door and closing the back door. What often happens is churches go for months or perhaps years without ever seeing a new face, without ever seeing what they refer to as visitor come in. First place, let's lose that terminology. There are no visitors. Use the term first-timers, because visitor automatically puts a distinction between you who are there and those who've just come in. But churches go for extended periods of time without ever having a new person walk through the front door of their church. And so what you're trying to do is open the front door. You're trying to set up an environment where people want to come into your church. So to open the front door, let's just talk about a couple of the things that you can do as a congregation, as a church leader, as a pastor, to open the front door of your church. One of the first things that you can do is this. You can fall in love with your community. Open your facilities to activities and events and organizations from outside your church. Is there a scout group in your area that's looking for a place to meet? A 12-step program looking for a place to meet? Find some creative ways. Our local Jamba Juice franchise has 100 and something employees, and they were introducing a new product line. They were looking for a place to hold a product launch meeting to train their employees how to sell the new product line. And we made our church available to them. We opened our church and said, sure, you're welcome to use it. We made sure that our pastoral staff was there to serve them. We cleaned the bathrooms, and we were there to greet them and assist them with parking, and we had our tech guys there to run the technical presentation for the folks from Jamba Juice. It had absolutely nothing to do with our church, nothing to do with it. But we made friends with the manager of the Jamba Juice. We met and made friends with some of the employees there, and a couple of those people have now attended our church off and on and started to come in. And that manager is friendly to us, and anytime we have an event in which we need his assistance, he's right there ready to jump on board and help us. A second way that you could open the front door of your church, or to make it more inviting to people, is curb appeal. Go outside and take a look at your building with a non-church view, just as if you were somebody driving by for the first time. Does it look neat? Is the grass mowed? Is the signage modern and up-to-date and inviting and informative? Does the building look like somebody meets there on a regular basis, or does it look like an uninhabited place that, oh yeah, by the way, there's a church that meets here? A third way that you might want to try to open the front door of your church after you've kind of fallen in love with your community and invited them in and made them welcome, and you've made sure that the curb appeal of your building is at least adequate, is remove the man-made artificial barriers that we have set up inadvertently. If you are operating with a dress code at your church in which you expect people to wear certain kinds of clothing in order to attend and fit in, you have closed the front door of your church to a certain group of people. I'm not talking about throwing caution to the wind and having people come indecently dressed or anything like that. Some of those decisions are individual and regional and up to the congregation. However, if you have people in your area who are primarily blue-collar workers, and your church is a church that expects people to dress up, wear a coat and tie, stockings and heels, to come to church on Sunday morning, a lot of those people will never come into your door because you've artificially closed the front door of your church by setting up a dress code that the Bible does not enforce. The Bible doesn't have a dress code for people to come to Jesus, but you've established one that keeps people from coming. So they're not going to come to your church. They're going to look for a place where they can come as they are. They're going to come dressed casually, or the clothing that they already own. They're not going to go and buy a new wardrobe to come to your church. And this kind of spills over into closing the back door and keeping them there. But when people come into your church, I personally am against doing anything that recognizes them as newcomers. I know some people disagree with me on this, but our policy at my local church and the way we like to approach this is, when you come in, you're here, and you're just like everybody else that's here. We don't put a special name tag on you. We don't ask you to fill out any cards. We don't ask you to sign a book. We don't ask you to stand and identify yourselves. We don't stand up and sing a song to you. We don't do any of those things, because a lot of times people are shopping for a church. They want to slide in, check it out, and slide back out. And they don't want to be recognized. They don't want to be pinned down. They don't want to give you too much information. I'll give you the Radio Shack example. I used to avoid shopping at Radio Shack because when I went in, they would ask me, I would buy 2 batteries, and they would ask me for my name, address, and phone number, and it infuriated me. You've got my money, give me my batteries. I don't want to give you all that information. People who come to your church for the first time are often the same way. They don't want to fill out a card and tell you all about their life. They're checking your church out. They don't know whether they want to stay or not. That's fine. Let them do that. You'll keep more by not imposing restrictions upon them. Another way that you need to open the front door of your church is to train your people to expect new people and treat them properly. Have you ever been on a vacation or on a trip and you visited a small church and you walked in, and when you walked in, everybody in the room turned around and stared at you? It's a very uncomfortable feeling. And yet that's the way many churches treat newcomers, first-timers, when they come in. They turn around and stare. And the reason is because they haven't had anybody new come to the church in so long. They don't expect anybody new to come to the church, and so when they come, it's such an oddity and such a rarity that it's like an endangered species has just walked through the door. So one of the things we've attempted to do is to train our people to expect new faces every single week. Now, it doesn't happen every single week. It happens a lot, but it doesn't happen every single week. But they expect new people to come in. And we sort of take the philosophy that you would take if you were selling your home and you were having an open house. When people come in, they are the reason that you've prepared the house. They are what you've expected. So when they come in, you greet them with a smile and a handshake, or in our case in Hawaii, it's all, this is a huggy place, a big open-armed hug. We welcome them in, and we make sure that they are right at home and comfortable and glad to be here. We offer them a cup of coffee. We chat with them about, just things that are going on in the community, and make them feel instantly, as much as possible, as if they have been here all their lives and they have come home. Making people feel comfortable is just good hospitality, and it's just good common sense. But many churches fail at this very elemental stage. They don't know how to take newcomers who come into their midst, a new person, and immediately blend them in and make them feel like they've assimilated into the congregation. It is a key to opening the door of your church.